Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my Aberration note run. Last time we basically took everything in the near vicinity of the portal, and today we are continuing that by taking the notes that are roughly located in this area right here on the map. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So this is where the starting point is, on this rock right here. So the portal room is in there. This, when you enter or when you leave the portal room, you'll end up in that tunnel and this lake. Use that as a marker. And you want to head, I think that's north, yeah. So you want to head north of the portal, follow the lake, and you should get to this waterfall right here. So if I go a little bit up so I can show you roughly what this area looks like. This is our starting location. And this waterfall is also what we're going to use to find the first note. So this note is kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is why I got to use this waterfall. But when you look in the same direction as the waterfall, like if you're standing on top of this pillar like I am, if you're looking in the same direction as the waterfall, you see the river goes down that way, and on the left, you see that pillar right there. That pillar supporting that upper platform. So you want to kind of go towards that pillar. You don't want to go on the right of it. You want to go kind of on the left side. You can see there's a little plateau area where you can walk. So you want to go left side of this pillar and just continue in underneath this overhang, and you can see that there is some rocks all over here, and the pillar, if this area is untouched, of course, because you can remove these rocks, but from on this area untouched, you have one rock right there. It's not that one. Then you have this rock right here. It's also kind of sizable. Not that one either, but it's the third one. So it's this rock right here. Very difficult to explain because, or kind of difficult to explain and show because of how it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. I'm gonna just get the gamma up a little bit. But 1, 2, 3 rocks, and behind that rock right here, you can also see there is some glowy crystals there. You can use those as well, I suppose. Here's our little note. It is Diana note number 8. At 38.1 by 29.6. And if we continue from this Diana note, just head straight east back to the river. Just head back to the river. There's another waterfall. So there's the first waterfall is where we started, second waterfall. And from this general location, you still have that pillar that we used as a marker the first time. And from the side of the river here, you can see that there's a little archway thing sticking out right here. There's the pillar. Here's the river. And there is a little outcrop or little archway kind of thing going on right here. And you want to use that as your primary marker. And as you can see right next to that, the mountain kind of, or the cliff side. So from this, you can see on the side, the mountain cliff side kind of juts out a little bit. And you want to basically, from the tip of this little part, just give you the rough chords if you're still confused. You have the river, have this little archway thing. There's a waterfall right there. And this little piece of cliff that we're at kind of juts out. What you want to do from here is simply jump down. Jump straight down. And unfortunately for me, this Diplodocus knocked down the tree that I was going to use as a marker. But once you jump down straight from this little cliff area, you want to just, if you look to the river right there, you want to head leftwards. And it's a Meiyin note right here. It is, by default, a tree that spawns right next to it. But my tree got knocked down, so mine is just standing here in the middle of nowhere. It's Meiyin note number 4 at 38.3 by 39. Alright, so for the 2 next notes, we have to travel a little bit, but I'm starting here so that you can see exactly where we're going. So we're right next to the waterfall. The Meiyin note is just down there. So what you want to do is quite simple. You want to follow this river. So the waterfall behind you, follow the river for a little bit. Goes around this bend, but you just continue following it. Pretty easy to tell when you have to turn away from it. Don't worry. So you follow it around that bend. You continue to follow it. And eventually, you should see a charge node right there in front of you. That means that you're still not lost. But continue follow the river a little bit more. And you get to this place where you now have basically 3 options. You can either follow the river straight forward, turn left, or there is a tunnel right there going through this little rocky pillar and to your right, and that's what you want to do. So we came from the river that way, came to this little fork section of the river there, and now you want to turn right through this rock tunnel. So go through the tunnel, and you'll come out, go past these rocks at the entrance, and just position yourself in this open space. It's open. You got some bigger trees to your left, and you can also see the river down there. But you want to turn right, and you can see that you have these mushroom trees. And you can also see that there is a rock in front of those. Well, there's a bunch of rocks here, but there's one rock right in front of these big trees right there. And you can see that there is a Diana note on the bottom of it. This is Diana note number 7 at 38.3 by 37.0. And there is no need for a cut because the next note is right next to this one, but it's going to be a little difficult to get to it if you're on foot. But again, this is a tutorial on the location, not on how to navigate the map. But from here, from this note, so if you point towards the mushrooms, away from the river, which is over there. So if you point this way, you just look to your left, look up, and you see there is a rocky shelf up there. And it kind of juts out, and then there's a mushroom on top. You can also see that there's a vine going across to this place. So that is going to be your location. So that mushroom that is on that platform right there, you want to go up to it. So I'm going to obviously fly up, but you might have to go around. But go up to this mushroom. So this is the area. This is what it looks like from above. So the note is right down there. We're now up here at this mushroom. And there is a rock right next to it. So the mushroom is there. The rock is right here. And you have a grad journal behind that. This is Grad Journal Emilia number 2 at 31.1 by 37.3. And there's another Diplodocus destroying another one of my marker trees, or mushrooms. So for this next one, we're gonna once again start at Diana 7, just like we did with the one up there. This time, however, you want to look, you want to maybe take a few steps back just so that you get kind of into this opening. And then you want to look this way. You want to look, what is that? West. So you want to kind of, you know, the river is back there, so you want to look away from the river to this mushroomy forest in this direction. And if you look in this direction, you'll see that there is a vine going diagonally from that cliff to that one. And you want to go towards that. It looks like it's kind of far away, but it actually isn't. It's very close. And once you get kind of below it, you'll see that there's another one that's much lower, that's just going right here. And once you get to these 2 vines, so once you get to them, here they are. You want to follow the bottom one. So the bottom one is kind of pointing down this way, and you want to continue. You want to look that direction. So from that bottom vine, go to the low point of it, and look in the same direction that it's pointing, and you'll see this rock pillar right there. You'll see this rock pillar. And there's like an overhang section and a cliff behind that. So you want to go towards this pillar. Go towards and around the pillar. So you get kind of behind it. And now, if you look, that would be sort of southeast-ish. You'll see that there's like a blue light line over there. You don't really need to worry about that. You just need to go in that direction, but you want to turn your attention to this cliff face, or side, and you want to just head kind of towards it, and you want to hug it while following that blue light. So you want to kind of go southeast while you hug this cliff. Eventually, you can see there's a couple of glow mushrooms. Seems to be glowing, but that's probably the light bugs. But eventually, once you kind of hug the cliff there, you'll get to this rock that's kind of attached to the side there. This darker rock. And as you can see right next to that rock, you have the Meiyin Note. You can see there's the blue light, or the blue, I don't know what that is, tech thing. You can also see part of that train track that goes from the portal from here. Kind of difficult to explain this one, but I did my best. It's Meiyin note number 9 at 42.1 by 37.1. So for this next note, you want to go back to the waterfall again. So you have the dual waterfall right here. You can see that's the landmark we used to find the Meiyin note, which is down there somewhere. But instead of following the river this time, you want to go right. So if you look like from the waterfall, so if you look with the waterfall to the river right there, instead of following the river, you want to go right. So you want to go right in this area. So again, that's a waterfall. Follow the river, but instead of following it, you want to go right straight away. And you want to look up. So this is another one that you kind of need to do some climbing to get to, but you want to look up. So you can see that there is kind of this diagonal shelf going on in the back there. And if you look at the diagonal shelf, you'll see that right ahead, in front of us, there's a bit of a rock, like a removable, harvestable rock on the cliff there. There's none other on that shelf. There's just one rock that is kind of flipping through the terrain right there. And you want to head towards that one. This one right here. So if I stand on top of that and look behind me, you'll see what the area looks like a little better. So you have the first waterfall, second waterfall, and if you, instead of following the river there, if you look towards the river, or look in the same direction as the river, you go right, there's this rock clipping through the cliff, and once you get up here, look on the left of it. If you're looking away from the river, if you're looking towards the river, it's on your right. Either way, next to this rock right here, you have Rockwell number 5, just in the middle of nowhere, at 41.2 by 33.3. And then for the final 3 notes, we're going to use the track or bridge as our main sort of marker. So first you want to start here at the edge of the lake. This is the lake that's right outside the portal room. Spent time here in the last episode as well. So position yourself right underneath the bridge, where the bridge kind of continues into the cave, away from the portal. And from here, you can see that there is a bunch of support pillars or beams, well, pillars, for the bridge. So the first 4, 2 on each side, you can skip. However, for these next 4, you can skip the 2 first ones. But for the final of these 2, so if you're counting the pillars as separate rows, then you have, this is row number 4 of support pillars. On the right one, if you follow the track into the cave, the right one, you go behind that, you'll find Meiyin Note number 7 at 45.1 by 31.1. And then from here, you want to continue past the next 4 support beams. So you don't need to worry about these. Go past those until you get to that next row that has a narrow little pathway going in between them. And this time, look on the left side, on the bottom of that pillar, and you'll see that next to this rock terrain, you have Rockwell number 10, 44.5 by 33.9. And from here, you can find our final note of the day pretty easily. So if you look back kind of towards where the bridge, where we came from basically, where the bridge goes, back towards the portal room, you can see that there is a cluster of rocks right next to you in that direction. This cluster right here. You have a big rock surrounded by some smaller ones. And if you go to this cluster, you can see that behind the big one, there is a slightly smaller one. And this very small one next to it. And right next to these 2, we have Meiyin Note number 8 at 44.2 by 33.3. And with that, we covered every note for this episode. So if you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with the next one. Goodbye.